live. You're live.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials. I hope you're having a wonderful summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and I hope you are staying warm if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. Today we're going to talk about late planning. And I had a mom send me an email yesterday, and she said, "Oh, I'm getting on it right now. I'm so early." I'm like, "Oh, honey, you're not early. We started in April." So let's hurry and get you going. So I wanted to do a video today, and I'm filming this in July, but I really want this video to be sort of applicable no matter when you come. When you're coming, if you're coming in the middle of the school year and you're trying to get planned, or if you're, if you're watching this and it's like August and you want to start in 2 weeks, you want to get planned. So I wanted this to be sort of a quick primer on the things that you need to really think about when you're coming late. I also want to say that today's video is brought to you by our Planning for Peace journal and course, and that is actually on sale at a spankin' half off right now, probably through the end of the week. I really want you to jump on board and get busy. If you don't have Planning for Peace, this is an awesome time to get it. It's like $23.50, so it's an amazing time to really jump on and take charge with this. Planning for Peace is an amazing planning system. I'm just going to say, an amazing planning system. Ask anybody who has it and who's actually used it, and not for a paperweight or a doorstop. But this is an amazing journal, and it will take you through all of the steps. And we are actually putting together a video course today that will go in that Planning for Peace course, because it's a journal and a course together. And so we will be putting together a little mini crash course today that will go into that course, and you'll have access to it when you buy the Planning for Peace journal. And it will be all about late planning, like what happens when you come to Waldorf late, what happens if you are planning late, what happens if you had a crazy fun summer and you forgot to plan, what happened, all of those things. So you'll definitely want to grab the journal now. And I will talk a little bit towards the end of this video about sort of what's in the journal. We posted a video from a delightful mom yesterday that talks about her experience with the journal, and we also, on the sales page for Planning for Peace, we go through every page of the journal so you can sort of see what every page has on it. So if you're looking for like a really good in-depth sample, hop on to the sales page for Planning for Peace, and you'll see it there. And that's at melissanielsen.com/peace. So today, what happens when you're coming late? So I would say that this is late. So this is, and any time after now is really, you got to get busy. It doesn't mean you don't have time to get it all together, because absolutely you do. But I would say that if you're not planning by June at the latest, then you really are playing catch up, because there's a lot of working parts. So, and it's not that Waldorf, I think, is difficult to plan for. I think it's a challenge for most moms. It was a challenge for me for a lot of years, and there's still things that challenge me. But I don't think it's difficult. I think it is challenging and difficult. I don't think are necessarily the same thing. And so I think that if you are ready, you can hit the ground running right now. You definitely have to lay out some parameters for yourself. So first, I think it's important to figure out which day you want to start on. A lot of people like to go with whatever the public school in their area is doing. I don't like that. I go with whatever I want. Right now, I don't know what my start day is quite yet. Probably sometime the first week in September. And so I tend to tell people, you want to know when your start date is, though, because it helps you sort of decide, okay, this is my end. I need to be done by X time. And there have been many years that we actually didn't start until Michaelmas, or we did sort of a soft start and had fun, like leading into things, and then really hit it hard after Michaelmas. And so I think it's important that you really think about what, where your start date is and what you need to do. If you're looking to try to get in your 180 days because you're reporting to a school entity or government, then you for sure want to keep that in mind. But I definitely wouldn't say let that necessarily guide your start day. You can always, there's always plenty of time in the school year to sort of make that up. So get that part out of your head first so that you have a goal to start with. The next thing that I recommend is you want to make sure that if you're using a planned curriculum that you get it. If you don't have it in your hands right now, shame on you. Get it today. Like, get a digital copy. If you're one of our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, download it and get your digital copy read. And if you'd rather have a hard copy, then you can buy one from our publisher if you're not a member, or come and become a member. I'm telling you, it's really silly to not be a member. It's really, really silly to not be a member of our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program. It is such a huge program because you get all the training, training, and you get mentoring and support, and you get curriculum, and you get a huge discount on the hard copies of the curriculum. So if you're a hard copy gal and you're thinking, oh, that's not for me, I'm telling you, you can get hard copies too. So get your curriculum, get it read, like today. I want you to read it cover to cover before you even crack the planning journal or get down with your crack open your notebook and your pen. Before you do any of that, you have to read it for content cover to cover. So when you read it the first time, you're not reading it for planning. You're reading it for content. And that really will help you know then what you need to plan. So if you are sitting down with first, second, or third grade, you're in a good spot because it's not a ton of major planning. I mean, it is, but it's not like if you were doing 4th, 5th, 6th, or even 7th and up. So I want you to get your curriculum and read it cover to cover. That's the very first step. Do not read it with, I'm planning in mind. I want you to just read it cover to cover. There are things that you want to remember later. Definitely highlight, grab some Post-it flags and flag it up. I mean, I'll do that. I like the really stiff Post-it, the ones that are a little more stiff. What are they called? It's totally left my head, Daddy. What are they called? Post-it. They're like the, anyway, it doesn't matter. The flags are really flexible and they're easy to throw away or to recycle or to use again. I like the stiff ones because you can write on them and they're more like a bookmark they're like this. These are the stiff ones. I don't use that when I'm going through to do my first read through. I might use a regular Post-it flag just so that I can make sure I go back to that page and there's something noteworthy there that I want to remember, kind of thing. So definitely read your curriculum cover to cover. I don't care if it's not mine. I don't care whose it is. Read it cover to cover first. You need to do that first. That is it would solve so many problems. I just have to say, as a curriculum writer, I speak for all curriculum writers when I say, read it first. It will answer so many of the questions that you have. So read it from page 1. Don't just read it from the front of the lessons. That's not okay. You got to read it from page 1. All of the curriculum writers, we write something in the beginning, and guess what? It's stuff in the beginning that you need to know. So read it from page 1. All the way through. And so read your curriculum, get it read the first time through, and then I want you to go to sleep on it. Let it sleep. Let it sleep for a day. And then come back. You're going to have more questions. You're going to then, because you've read it for content, then you're going to pop to the lessons section and you're going to start thinking about laying out your lessons. So when you're laying out your lessons, definitely you're going to start with, this is how I start. Start with the block first. You know what your block is? Even if it's written in the book, our books are broken into like a year at a glance. And, but I would still, actually, will you grab me? Oh, you can't. Be right back.
Oh, it might be easier.
Nope, it's okay. You're attached to things. I wasn't thinking I was going to use it. But okay. I'm coming back. He sort of has a little umbilical cord attached to him as he's attached to a lot of things right there for sound and stuff. So this is just our curriculum. I'm going to show you. So in our curriculum, we have this year at a glance. This is basically lays out your blocks for you. And our curriculum is 100% laid out. I know others aren't, but regardless, of whether it's laid out or not, these are integral steps that you need to do. So first, lay down and lay it out and write out all your blocks. And and that would be, so in first grade you've got several literature blocks and language arts blocks as you're learning the letters, and then you've got a couple of math blocks and some environmental blocks at the end. Like this was sixth grade in my hands here. These are the ones that we are focused on right now. So in sixth grade, I would have some history blocks. I would have some physics blocks. I would have some geography blocks. So you want to lay out, just make a list of your blocks and write out, like next to that, I write out like, what are my goals? So it helps for you to read that front end of the curriculum, because then you understand the goals that go with the content. So you want to understand the Steiner part before you really know what it is that you're doing. And that will help you so much. And when you're planning, it will help you know when to cut corners and when not to cut corners. It's super duper important to understand the why behind the how. So then you're sort of laying that writing out your blocks. And then I go from that block then to like 4 weekly segments. And most of our blocks are contained within a month. Sometimes they're 6 weeks. I like a month, because as a homeschooling mom, it's easier for us to think of 1 month segments. So I tend to try to do that. But it doesn't always happen that way. So then you're going, like I said, full block down into like 4 weekly segments. Then you can take that 4 weekly segments piece and you can translate that into daily lessons. So if you're using a planned curriculum, I don't know. I think there's some others that are as planned out as ours, but maybe not. I would still do this. I still have all of our Planning for Peace people, even if they're using our curriculum, do the whole thing. Why? Because there's something that happens when you write it down. It happens up here, and it helps you make a connection with it. So you want to write it down. You want to get it all out, and you definitely want all of your planning down to the day. And you want to do that. I do my blocks, then down into weekly segments, down into daily segments. I have it ready, the dailies from September to December before I start school. So I know exactly what I'm doing every day through the end of the year. And then I sit down during Thanksgiving break and I do the rest of the year. So parents say to me, well, what happens though if Johnny gets sick or we have an extended family vacation or blah, blah, blah? Well, it works out because you have it all planned. So you can shift things around. It's not a big deal. The other thing that I would say is if you have not started your, especially if you have a first through third grades child, if you have not started your prop drawings, paintings, and otherwise, get busy. It's time. So I have all of my props for, like I said, at least for grades 1 through 3, already done when I start school in September. So that means that I have all of the drawings done for the letter introductions, for her math, for all of that. I have it all done. And it's so handy having this bookcase right here. I use like giant paper since we don't have a chalkboard in this house. I had a chalkboard and I'd had a chalkboard in Utah, but I live in California and everybody lives on a postage stamp in California. So there's really not a space for a chalkboard here. And I'm actually okay with that. At first I thought it was really going to bug me. It does not bug me at all. I use this is a big sketchbook. So this is like 11 by 14. I do all my prop drawings in here and excuse me, and they're all done like before. Like this is Daddy's, and they did elephants. I do all of them in here, and then I do my paintings all in advance as well, and then I have them done. They're done, and then the morning of the class that I'm teaching, or the class that he's teaching, because he teaches once a week too. The morning of, then it's already done. I'm teaching from that prop, and then I'm doing that again with my child. So we actually go through that in some other videos, other Monday videos. So if you are struggling with sort of how to put together main lessons, please go through our Monday videos. We have, I think, about 100 Monday videos now, and we've been doing it almost 2 years, I think. And you will see in the Monday videos, we have plenty of things on sort of getting your main lessons together and what you need to do to sort of have everything with regards to reading, writing, art, all of those, all in the Monday videos. Also, if you want further support, again, our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program is the place to be because I give it all to you. I teach you how to paint, Siggy teaches you how to draw. It is an amazing training and mentoring program, and you get access to me. So, So I think that really with regards to planning, we have a lot of people watching. Do you have any questions over there?
Nope, no questions.
No questions? We have a lot of watchers over here. Does anybody have any questions? Like, what should you do or anything like that? It's super quiet over here this morning. We have a lot of watchers, but not a lot of talkers, and that's okay. That's okay. But really, that's what you need to do. You need to just get busy and get started. And again, I cannot recommend this highly enough. The Planning for Peace Journal, it is on sale right now for $23.50. What I would say is I would buy the digital copy. If you're a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member and you want a hard copy, grab a hard copy. But I would definitely get the journal, and because it's broken out, and you can buy, when you buy the digital, I would buy at this point in the game, I would buy it and I would print it out and pop it in a binder. And we have an 8.5 by 11 size, so it's easy to pop in a binder with no trouble. Okay, so I got some questions here. Aaron says, do you recommend this journal for K2 or am I jumping the gun? Absolutely. We have a kindergarten version. There's a kindergarten version for the planner, and it takes you through circle time creation and all of that. So absolutely, definitely recommend it for sure. And it also, Aaron, and anybody else who's listening, it gets you really in the habit of planning. And that's really what I want. I want this to become a habit so that come April, you go, oh, it's time. It's time. I better get busy now. And we're not like planning like super in depth in April. We're taking the first steps. And then, as it goes on and as you get to July, then you're in the neck of it, the deep of it, in July. But of course, it's to sort of get you in the habit of doing it so that it is not such an arduous task. So Lisa says, how much time do you put aside? Hold on. How much? Okay, very good. Lisa says, how much time do you put aside for planning? An hour a week, a full 8-hour day. So when I start in April, I don't have to do huge chunks. But if I haven't started in April, what I'm going to recommend in the short late planning series that's going to be in Planning for Peace, and it also will be in Mom Lesson 6 for our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, is I'm recommending that you take like 4 days, as much as you can for 4 days. And I'll go through that in our videos. But when it comes to like what I do normally, because I have this done, I sit down on Sunday and I look at the next 2 weeks. So, I look at the next 2 weeks and I go, I want to make sure I have everything for the week after this week. And I do that because if there's anything that needs to come from the library, get ordered from Amazon, get picked up at the store, any of that, I don't need it for this week. I need it for next week. And so I can make a list of what needs to be purchased this week or picked up this week so that then next Sunday when I sit down to do my planning, it's all there. So I'm doing that, planning for the week ahead first, and then I'm looking at this week that's coming up, and I just make sure that I know where all of my prop drawings are. I make sure that I have paint mixed. I make sure that, I know where all the crayons and the paper is and all of that. I make sure that we got through everything last week so that everything will flow smoothly this week. I go through and make sure that the handwork fairies help where they need to. That's what I'm doing on Sundays. I'm making sure that we are ready for Monday morning. And it really doesn't take very long. It takes about it. When you do this, then your prep for the week is minimal. It's especially for the lower grades. It's I would say an hour. If you are looking at so this year we have Samuel who's in 6th grade. It will take me a little bit longer, but mostly it'll be like, oh yeah, okay, so this is the history concept. I'm just refreshing myself on the concepts that we're teaching because I've taught them before. But if it's brand new to you, I know that if it's brand new, it feels like super overwhelming. So if you've got brand new concepts, then you're definitely going to want to sort of make it a layered process so you don't try to cram everything in your brain. You want to make sure that you're looking at those concepts now and just getting really familiar with them through your planning and staying familiar with them as you're walking through the school year. So you're not walking away. I have this, while I'm pretty choleric, I also have a really heavy sanguine side. And since my stroke, my short-term memory is just crap. So I have to write myself lots of notes and I have to keep things fresh. Have to continually stay on top of things in order for them to stay fresh in my mind so that then when we do lessons, it's easy and it flows well. What do you have over there?
A couple of questions. One is, I'm preparing props and drawings and such. Is it okay if my kids see me prepare them?
Okay, but generally not ideal. But just because you really don't want them to see what's coming. You want it to be this great gift that they get to unwrap. So that's what you're doing when you're up at, before your kids in the morning. I get up early before my kids. I paint all the time so that I have got those things done and it's not with their eyes around. So that's what you're doing when you get them up early. That's also maybe what you're doing when you get their buns in bed when they should get in bed. That's the beauty of sleep.
And then one other question.
Okay, go ahead. I've got a couple over here, but go ahead.
I'm planning for 3rd and 5th grades. Should I read the curriculum one grade at a time or at the same time?
One grade at a time. Don't get them mixed up. There's some nice crossovers with 3rd and 5th that I think you'll like that will be nice. It'll help you when you're doing things. It'll sort of help. What's nice about the history curriculum is when you've got one piece here, so you've got sort of the Old Testament pieces here, but you've got this overarching in 5th grade of the ancient cultures, and they start to sort of marry. And so it will be nice, but I would definitely still read one at a time. Oh, excuse me. Is that all over there? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to grab a couple over here. So I have one mom that says, I use visualization and actually visualize on Sundays, walking through my Monday, etc., so I can see if I forgot everything. Yes, ma'am, that is so good. It's so good to be able to sit back and really think about everything as before it comes. Especially, I would say, because I've done that for sure, I would say that it was especially important when I had several main lessons. So there was a year that we had 4 main lessons and a baby. It was a crazy year. But we did it. We got through it. And actually it was probably because I had to be so disciplined and so organized, it was probably one of our best years. Like if I sit back and I think about the main lessons from that year, I can remember everybody's main lessons. I can remember Super Sam's stories. I can remember, the things we did with Eleanor. I can remember because it seems like she was in 5th grade. So that would have meant Jacob was in 7th grade. I remember doing the chemistry things with Jacob. I remember all of those things. So that was one of the best years because I had to be super, super disciplined and we couldn't mess around. But they were beautiful, beautiful main lessons. We had a lot of fun and it really helped hone how I plan. And I've always sort of been a planner, but when that year was sort of the pinnacle of everything, that was the year that I really started using the forms that I use in the Planning for Peace journal. It was the year that I started doing evaluations for everybody. And I really started making sure that I knew my stuff. And because I had kids that were 5th, 7th, and 9th that year. And it was definitely a stretch, but it was so good. It was so good because like I said, it helped me really be disciplined. And you have the benefit of that now because of that discipline, I learned so much that year. And so that it's definitely what you see in Planning for Peace now. And she says, yes, and we'll have 3 main lessons this year. I have to be super disciplined for sure. Yes, ma'am. And I think you can do it for sure. Okay, we have another one that says, I'll have a 6th grader and a 4th grader. How do you juggle the teaching time? Meaning when do you teach one over the other? New to this. So first I would listen to our podcasts and watch our videos on teaching several students, teaching many children. And we have a file in the resources section at Waldorf Essentials that also will help you with that. It goes through my rotation plan, how I've done it. And again, that was really honed that year that we had so many kids. I had done it before, but it was really honed the year that I had 4 main lessons in an infant. And so I would definitely go through that, but I rotate them through. Everybody gets a main lesson. I do not believe in combining. I know that there are other Waldorf consultants that do, and people that would tell me I'm crazy, but I do not believe in combining. I believe that every child needs their own lesson, and that this content, that Waldorf content, is meant for the age, and that you should teach for the age. And so I just found a way to do it. I'm pretty stubborn, and so I don't combine. There are elements that are combined sometimes. Like sometimes we might combine the music thing, or I remember one time we did Geography Jeopardy, and when all 3 kids were in a place where they knew geography. Remember that day? That was a lot of fun. They all had a really good time, but it was like review stuff. But I do not combine main lessons at all. So it's just not. And unless you've got kids that are in the same place and then like going up with mathematics and things like that, that would be one case, but definitely not when it comes to the literature or history portion. So I don't combine. I give everybody their own main lesson and I rotate through. It just means you have to be disciplined, and it sounds really scary, but I promise it's not. So check out the free file on in our resources section on our site, and then also check out the other videos that we have. But it's very doable, very, very doable, and we've been doing it for several years. So any other questions on there, comments?
No, we're good over here.
Alrighty, you guys, this is like your digital kick in the bum. If you have not started your planning, you need to get off Facebook and go get busy. And don't forget, Planning for Peace is on sale, half off, $23.50 through the end of the week. And if you do not have this journal, you will kick yourself if you don't jump on it. You need this journal. It's not a day planner. It is a planning journal, and